A Carl Junction organization is on a mission to ensure that no one goes hungry on Christmas or spends the holiday alone. I'm Bronte Sorotsky with the tradition that helps them do that.
Plus, when you're done with that Christmas tree, what should you do with it? Well, the city of Joplin has a solution. And
as family and friends gather to celebrate the Christmas holiday weekend, the coronavirus pandemic is front of mind. I'm Charles Watson in Atlanta. I'll have the story coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
an organization in Carl Junction is continuing a tradition of bringing meals and company to anyone who may need it on Christmas. KOAM's Bronte Sorotsky has how a community meal aims to make sure everyone can enjoy the holiday no matter their circumstances.
On Christmas, many across the 4 states may choose to gather with their family or loved ones to celebrate, but for some, that isn't an option. It's why Krista Asbel organized the Asbel Foundation's free community dinner 7 years ago.
7 years ago, my father-in-law passed away, and Christmas was just too hard for us to get together without him. And we wish that there was some place for us to go or serve or do something a little different, and we really wanted it to be something for everyone, not just people that were in need, but just people who maybe just didn't feel like cooking or were empty nesters. And so we wanted to provide that space for them and also provide a space for their people to give back to the community.
So on Christmas Day, Asbel and a team of volunteers serve the Carl Junction community.
We start preparing in November. And it actually goes off really well with all of our awesome volunteers that you see here. And you may notice that there's a lot more talking than eating going on, and that's because we figured out people really want a place for connection on Christmas. They want to feel that community connection and just be together and enjoy the holiday. And so fortunately, we can provide that with a hot meal.
One volunteer, Misha Honey, says it not only feels good to give back to her community, but to show her children the impact they can make as well.
It feels pretty good to be able to show my children that that Christmas and life in general isn't just about us or them. Being able to show them that there are people who need to feel that sense of family and don't always have somebody to come to their house or to go to somebody else's house. So I really enjoying my children being able to see that.
And with the lingering pandemic, it's something to bring the community closer together when being together has been a challenge.
I feel like it's even more important. I know last year we only did carry-out meals and to-go orders because we felt like people still needed it. It was still very important. And the same thing with this year. You know, we're fortunate to be able to do a dine-in option, but I feel like people, again, they really miss that connection. And so we're just so lucky to be able to have everyone gather together and feel connected on Christmas.
Asbel says the best part is knowing they're making a positive impact on the community's lives. In Carl Junction, Bronte Sorotsky, KOAM News.
Now, food for the meal is donated by Woody's Smokehouse Barbecue as well as members of the community and relies entirely on volunteers. While many of you may still be rocking around the Christmas tree tonight, some may already be thinking of how to dispose of that big fir tree in the living room. And the city of Joplin has you covered. Starting tomorrow, you can drop off Christmas trees at 3 convenient locations: Humphrey Park on Utica Street in the Royal Heights neighborhood, McIndoe Park at Glendale Road and Jackson Avenue. And if you go there, they do ask that you place your trees in the southwest corner of the parking lot. And lastly, the Public Works Center at 1301 West 2nd Street. And of course, you need to remove all your decorations and place them near the sign that says Christmas Tree Drop-Off at one of those locations on your screen. And the city will accept the trees through January 31st. And boy, it was a beautiful Christmas day, albeit a bit warm. Nick Kelly joining us.
At least no worries about breaking any record highs for today, Chris, although, believe it or not, the midnight highs this morning came close to the record that we set 5 years ago on this day. But we kept things pretty quiet. All was calm on this Christmas day, but we hit a low of 50 this morning and this high is 70. Again, that was right at the midnight hour. Close to that record high of 72 set back 5 years ago. But in the afternoon, we saw temperatures settle back into the 60s for the most part. And even though we had pockets of sunshine throughout the day, we're seeing more cloud cover continue to stream in from the west. because of the backside of the cold front that came out through this morning. It's actually coming back as a warm front out of the desert southwest and out of the Texas and Oklahoma panhandles too. That means temperatures won't be too keen to drop off too much tonight. I think drops back near 44. Everybody will be mainly in the lower to middle 40s to start the night out. But despite mostly cloudy skies back in action tomorrow, maybe some scattered showers for some in the afternoon, we'll have highs near 72. That could be near record-breaking highs as well, but we have some more storm systems for the week ahead. Chris, we'll break that down here in a bit.
All right, Nick, thank you. The U.S. now says Omicron is the dominant strain of COVID. Omicron cases are being reported in every state. The nation is reporting over 160,000 new cases each day. Fox News correspondent Charles Watson has more from Atlanta.
Concerns over the coronavirus pandemic mounting as people around the world celebrate Christmas. An uptick in Omicron cases forcing many churches across the U.S. to cancel indoor services and instead opting to hold them online or outdoors. Despite the Omicron variant dominating cases nationwide, the CDC easing quarantine requirements for healthcare providers to fight back against staffing shortages. Newly released guidelines allowing healthcare workers infected with COVID-19 to return to work after isolating for 7 days. That is down from the previous requirement of 10 days. Returning staff also have to have a negative COVID test, a requirement some public health officials fear could further complicate matters.
Right now we have a testing shortage, which means once again you'll have people trying to scramble to get tests that they may not have access to, or taking a test from someone else who might need it, who has symptoms.
Pope Francis delivering his Christmas message Saturday morning at the Vatican, praying for an end to the pandemic. His Holiness pushing for health care for the world, COVID vaccines for the poor, and asking for support for those most affected by the coronavirus. Here in the U.S., the Biden administration says it will lift travel restrictions on 8 African countries. You may recall the ban was initially implemented to slow the spread of the Omicron variant. Now it's set to end next Friday. In Atlanta, Charles Watson, Fox News.
And we take this time now to honor one of our many four-state heroes. Marlon Lehman served in the Navy during World War II in the South Pacific. His hometown, Independence. And we're proud to recognize Marlon Lehman, tonight's four-state hero. And remember, learn more about other heroes or nominate one of your own at any time. Just head over to our website. That's KOAMNewsNow.com. Coming up, COVID cases in France setting new records.
While all was quiet on this Christmas day, it turned out to be quite a warm one when we break down the numbers here. We'll get to that in a moment, but the look outside from Indigo Sky Casino Resort outside of Seneca, Missouri, even on this Christmas night, we've seen the activity pick up. Certainly the parking lot trying to fill up with some spending their Christmas day out and about across the area, but we kept that view quiet all day. But it won't stay quiet throughout much of the week since we do have a few systems to track. I'm tracking one that already made an appearance this morning. It wants to return tomorrow with maybe a few showers with that returning front tomorrow. As we go into Tuesday, sticking with Doug's pattern, we've got another good system that'll give us, I think, a pretty good shot of rain and even some thunderstorm chances by then. Then heading toward New Year's, especially around New Year's Day, I'm tracking not only thunderstorm chances, but depending on how fast temperatures can drop and if moisture's still around, that system could potentially end as snow as we wrap up New Year's Day. So quite a bit to track. But thankfully not much to show you from outside at 7th and Rangeline. We kept that view quiet all day as well. But look at the temperatures. We had a record high of 72 degrees 5 years ago on this day. You remember that Christmas day where we had a cold front work through with thunderstorms with it. We were close to that this morning, but officially Joplin started with a midnight high at 70 this morning. Temperatures did, with the passing cold front, drop back into the 40s and 50s this morning. And then we actually saw decent temperatures this afternoon. Mild above normal, sure, but can't beat a quiet day with temperatures topping out in the mid-60s, especially for the afternoon. And not to mention the wind. It was in action in full force the other day. It was a lot calmer today, and we're still looking at a calm breeze, but we're starting to see that breeze turn more out of the east. And eventually we're going to get that south wind back in place as we go into the rest of the night. So let's break down the surface setup here. We have quite a bit of cloud cover building out to the west and streaming our way because of the back end of the cold front, actually developing as a warm front. That's what's going to lift on through tomorrow to push us back toward a pretty mild day. And then in the upper levels, we got a few waves north and west of the region to watch, but the one that could bring bring a few showers our way tomorrow with the passing front. Another subtle quick wave working out of Colorado. In the short term, though, as we head into your Sunday morning, you can see how we'll just continue with the passing cloud cover, generally mostly cloudy, but that means temperatures mainly mid to upper 40s to about 50 degrees. Then as we head toward your Sunday afternoon, we'll stick with mostly cloudy skies in general, but with that passing front, can't rule out a few showers across parts of the region, especially in our northern counties. I think that's the best bet for any showers to pop up. 44 in the morning, 67 by noon, highs around 72 degrees. The record high tomorrow is 71. I think we got a shot of breaking that one too, so why not as we wrap up the Christmas weekend tomorrow. We look quiet as we head into Monday, but even with returning cloudy skies, we're going to trend a little bit cooler with highs around 60. I want to quickly show you the other systems for the week ahead. Here's Tuesday's system with rain and thunderstorms, likely during Tuesday morning and into the early part of the afternoon. Then we're looking quiet Wednesday and Thursday, but then as we head toward the New Year's weekend, it starts quiet with New Year's Eve temperatures around 58, and then thunderstorms and 63 on New Year's Day. And again, that system could end as some snow as you head toward that Saturday night and Sunday. But 72 for a mild end to the holiday weekend tomorrow, 60 on Monday, 67 on Tuesday, and finally mid-40s, normal temperatures by the middle of the week, Chris.
Nick, thank you. And while we haven't seen this, check this out. Instead of a white Christmas, New Hampshire residents got a wintry mix of freezing rain and sleet, making for very hazardous road conditions. New Hampshire State Police report having to respond to more than 100 accidents, including a 15-car pileup on the Everett Turnpike. Newport Police said numerous roads in their town are impassable because of ice. State Police are advising drivers traveling late Saturday night or early Sunday morning to drive with caution. Next on the KOAM News at 9, Italy has set COVID case records the last 3 days in a row. France reported a record-breaking 104,000 plus COVID-19 cases on Saturday, the highest daily number since the pandemic began, and the first time numbers break the 100,000 threshold, according to the health ministry. On Friday, the French government announced that President Emmanuel Macron will host a virtual meeting with ministers on Monday to discuss the coronavirus crisis. Italy reported its third consecutive day of record-breaking new COVID-19 cases today, according to its health ministry. With nearly 55,000 new daily COVID-19 cases on Saturday, this is the highest daily figure since the pandemic began. That's up from Friday's record of just over 50,000, which itself had surpassed the previous day's record of just under 45,000 cases. The country also reported a further 144 deaths and 33 more patients in intensive care units on Saturday. Research from Italy's Superior Health Institute published on Thursday shows that the Omicron variant is rapidly increasing across the country. The Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi announced Saturday that the country would start the process of vaccinating children between 15 and 18 years of age. The vaccination program will begin on January 3rd. No details have been provided yet on which vaccine would be distributed. Modi also announced the start of distribution of booster shots for individuals above 60 years with pre-existing medical conditions, healthcare personnel, and frontline workers. This program will begin on January 10th of next year. The holidays can actually be a trigger for those who may be struggling with their mental health. Anxiety, depression, and PTSD are the three most common issues during the holiday months. Mental health advocate Natasha Pierre says with the added stress of the ongoing pandemic, more people are being met with those holiday blues. But it's not a feeling that just disappears once the holidays are over. Fox's Elizabeth Fry tells you why.
For some, the holiday season isn't necessarily all things merry and bright.
Everything on TV says 'tis the season to be jolly, but everyone isn't jolly. Everyone isn't feeling festive and celebratory right now, and it's for a myriad of reasons.
Natasha Pierre is a mental health advocate fighting to break the stigma. She says the holidays can actually be a trigger for those who may be struggling.
For some, of course, financial hardships. For others, they're dealing with mental illness or physical health challenges. And for a lot of people across the Tampa Bay area and the nation, there's grief.
Anxiety, depression, and PTSD are the three most common struggles during the holiday months.
Mental illness does not take holidays off. So if you're dealing with anxiety, depression, PTSD, mood disorders, you're going to have it during the holidays as well.
Pierre says with the added stress of the ongoing pandemic, more people are being met with those holiday blues. But it's not a feeling that just disappears once the holidays are over.
We had a lot of distractions through November and December to really keep us occupied and focus on family and friends and shopping. But when January comes around and we have the bills, what's going to happen then?
She says if your loved ones are struggling, don't be afraid to step in and speak up. But if you're the one who may be feeling a little less merry this holiday,
in order to even get support, to get help, you've got to be honest with what you're feeling. And it's okay to not feel festive.
Remember, you're not alone and brighter days are ahead. In the meantime, Pierre says you can still make the most of your holiday by setting boundaries and being honest.
My recommendation is to pause, step back, create new traditions, have conversations, get to know your family.
Elizabeth Fry, Fox News.
Coming up, the city of Austin honors a very special grocery store employee. 84-year-old Ophelia Garcia has been with her company for 56 years. Managers, family, and the city of Austin threw her surprise retirement party this week and also issued a proclamation declaring December 22nd, 2021 as Ophelia Garcia Day. Ophi, as she's known by many, rarely called in sick and even insisted on working through the pandemic. Fox's Bridget Spencer was there as her friends and co-workers surprised her with a special retirement party.
Wednesday was a cause for celebration. 84-year-old Ophelia Garcia is HEB's longest-running retail employee. The manager's family and the city of Austin threw her a surprise retirement party and issued a proclamation declaring December 22nd
as Ophelia Garcia Day in Austin.
The longtime Oak Hill resident worked with the company for 56 years, 30 of them being at the old Oak Hill store, which just closed down and reopened just down the road.
I started working for him in 1965. So I didn't go to school. This was my school, HEB University. I love my customers. I have a passion for them, and that's what I have stayed so long.
That passion also gave her strength to put her own health on the line and work through the pandemic. She even lost 3 of her close friends to the virus.
It's hard. It's very hard because the people that I lost, they were good customers, but the COVID was so strong.
But Ophelia, affectionately known as Ophi, kept going until she couldn't.
Everybody needed the grocery stores, and they were there for us. And it's people like Ophi that embody that commitment to the community.
Hello, I miss you. We all could learn something from Ophi.
She was at the front door encouraging her customers, helping her customers, meeting new customers. And Mom always said, I never met a stranger at work. And that'll stick with us forever.
And what's next? Her son says she'll be hitting the casinos with her husband of more than 60 years.
Yeah, I hope one day when hopefully I'm lucky enough to be that age that I have as much spirit, vigor, and energy as she does.
My customers are my passion.
Happy Ophelia Garcia Day.
Find work that's meaningful to you and do it well.
Bridget Spencer, Fox News.
Still ahead, what wonders does the technological world hold for us? Well, how about something new for televisions? I don't know if this is a good idea or not, but what if you could taste the Christmas cookies in all those holiday movies? That option could be right around the corner. A Japanese professor developed a prototype of a lickable TV screen that can imitate the flavors of various foods. It's called Taste the TV. It allows a multi-sensory viewing experience in your own living room. The device uses a carousel of 10 flavor canisters, I'm sorry, this is just interesting, that spray out to create the taste of a particular food. A hygienic film rolls over the flat TV screen for you to try. I don't know if that's something I'm going to try, but it is, we're just that close, much closer to smell-o-vision. I don't know if that's a good idea. All right, well, still ahead on the KOAM News at 9, authorities in Spain say a volcano on an island there is done erupting. Plus, a man is in custody after trespassing on the property of Windsor Castle. Also, the Pope making his annual Christmas address. We'll tell you what he said. And
the best Christmas gift for thousands of travelers is a flight that isn't canceled. But for many, that won't be the case. I'm David Lee Miller, and coming up, I'll have the details from New York's LaGuardia Airport.
Welcome back to your news at 9. Authorities in the Spanish Canary island of La Palma officially declared the island's volcano has finished erupting. Now today, officials announced the Cumbre Vieja volcano has been silent for 10 days. A huge relief as those living there have endured daily explosions and earthquakes for almost 3 months, as well as rivers of molten rock and toxic gas-filled ash plumes on a near constant basis. The eruption started on the popular vacation destination on September 19th. It is the longest eruption in La Palma on record. A 19-year-old Englishman is in custody today after trespassing on the grounds of Windsor Castle. The Queen is spending Christmas at Windsor Castle. While the man did enter the grounds, he didn't make it far thanks to tight security measures put in place. According to police, the suspect is being held on suspicion of having an offensive weapon. Pope Francis delivered his Christmas message Saturday morning at the Vatican. His Holiness prayed for an end to the pandemic, as well as calling for an end to global conflicts like the violence in Syria and the new tensions in Ukraine. Pope also asked for support to those most affected by the pandemic, including women and children who are facing an increasing amount of abuse. In Germany, Santa's got this one in the bag. Plenty of coronavirus vaccines, that is, for a really long line. Santa Claus, or rather his trusty health aides in Germany, bring vaccinations to hundreds queued in line at Cologne's Cathedral on Christmas Eve. The shots come ahead of new German control measures, such as limiting gatherings for the vaccinated to 10 people. And closing clubs, discos, and eliminating crowds at soccer matches. About 70% of Germany's 83 million are fully vaccinated. A Christmas Day tragedy in eastern Pennsylvania has claimed 3 lives. Crews were called to the scene of a house fire Saturday morning in Quakertown, a suburb of Philadelphia. Police say 3 people, 41-year-old Eric King and his 2 sons, died in the blaze. King's wife and their other child were rescued from the house and hospitalized for burns and smoke inhalation. The cause of the fire is yet to be determined, but officials say the lights on the family's Christmas tree may be to blame. A GoFundMe page has been set up for the King family. As of Saturday afternoon, more than $163,000 has been raised. Democrats hoping President Biden's Build Back Better Act can still be salvaged. Biden himself says he has not given up on the bill, despite Senator Joe Manchin's opposition to the proposal in its current form. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer says he plans to bring the bill to a vote next month. Fox News correspondent Alexandria Hoff reports.
This Christmas, some Democrats were holding on to the gift of hope that the president's Build Back Better spending plan will survive in some form. But without Senator Joe Manchin's support, a full disassembly of the $1.7 trillion spending plan is likely.
I think that we need to do what we can to get the victories that we can and create a Build Back Better Act that includes the most important priorities that we can get Manchin on board with.
But Senator Manchin doesn't hold all the power here. The Senate parliamentarian is still able to axe portions of the bill if they don't align with the strict rules. With that, Republicans are ready to push challenges.
Joe Manchin did the right thing here. We need more representatives like him in the Senate that are willing to stand up against their own party and do what is right.
Next month, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer plans to hold a vote on the sprawling bill that expands the social safety net and bolsters climate action. But any delay could pose a risk.
It could spill into January or February and still get enacted. But the risk for Democrats is the longer the legislation goes unpassed, the greater the risk of something happening that then distracts either the Senate or the country as a whole from this legislation.
While Senator Manchin has declared that as the legislation stands, he will vote no, the question remains, if a vote is called, might other moderate Democrats follow his lead? In Washington, Alexandria Hoff, Fox News.
There's a lot to be joyful about this holiday weekend, but many Americans are still reeling from a major travel hassle after airlines canceled more flights over COVID concerns and staffing shortages. Fox News correspondent David Lee Miller reports from LaGuardia Airport.
Lots of turbulence for some airline customers this Christmas. From coast to coast, hundreds of flights are being canceled because of staff shortages due to COVID. It's a worldwide problem with 2,500 cancellations globally. Only about a third involve travel in the U.S. Delta, United, and JetBlue have canceled at least 12% of flights scheduled for Christmas. That follows significant cancellations on Christmas Eve, one of the busiest travel days of the year.
And we kind of expected it, everything's delayed or shut down.
Many of the cancellations were made well in advance of the scheduled flight before people left home, but there were still delays. Some carriers are changing equipment and crews to try and get people to their destinations. For many passengers, the efforts were not enough.
We have to roll with the punches. I think everybody needs to be safe, I think if it gets canceled, you got to have a good attitude and have Christmas in the airport.
Although the cancellations took a lot of passengers by surprise, there was concern in the industry that the Omicron virus was going to cause serious disruption. Days ago, a trade group asked the government to shorten the isolation period for people testing positive. AAA estimates 6.5 million Americans will be flying this holiday season. Today and New Year's Day are considered the best times to take to the sky because of the relatively small number of people who are traveling. In New York, David Lee Miller, Fox News.
Later on the news at 9, the importance of caring for caregivers.
While all was quiet on this Christmas day, it turned out to be quite a warm one when we break down the numbers here. We'll get to that in a moment, but the look outside from Indigo Sky Casino Resort outside of Seneca, Missouri, even on this Christmas night, we've seen the activity pick up. Certainly the parking lot trying to fill up with some spending their Christmas day out and about across the area, but we kept that view quiet all day. But it won't stay quiet throughout much of the week since we do have a few systems to track. I'm tracking one that already made an appearance this morning. It wants to return tomorrow with maybe a few showers with that returning front tomorrow. As we go into Tuesday, sticking with Doug's pattern, we've got another good system that'll give us, I think, a pretty good shot of rain and even some thunderstorm chances by then. Then heading toward New Year's, especially around New Year's Day, I'm tracking not only thunderstorm chances, but depending on how fast temperatures can drop and if moisture's still around, that system could potentially end as snow as we wrap up New Year's Day. So quite a bit to track. But thankfully not much to show you from outside at 7th and Rangeline. We kept that view quiet all day as well. But look at the temperatures. We had a record high of 72 degrees 5 years ago on this day. You remember that Christmas day where we had a cold front work through with thunderstorms with it. We were close to that this morning, but officially Joplin started with a midnight high at 70 this morning. Temperatures did, with the passing cold front, drop back into the 40s and 50s this morning. And then we actually saw decent temperatures this afternoon. Mild above normal, sure, but can't beat a quiet day with temperatures topping out in the mid-60s, especially for the afternoon. And not to mention the wind. It was in action in full force the other day. It was a lot calmer today, and we're still looking at a calm breeze, but we're starting to see that breeze turn more out of the east, and eventually we're going to get that south wind back in place as we go into the rest of the night. So let's break down the surface setup here. We have quite a bit of cloud cover building out to the west and streaming our way because of the back end of the cold front, actually developing as a warm front. That's what's going to lift on through tomorrow to push us back toward a pretty mild day. And then in the upper levels, we got a few waves north and west of the region to watch, but the one that could bring a few showers our way tomorrow with the passing front, another subtle quick wave working out of Colorado. In the short term, though, as we head into your Sunday morning, you can see how we'll just continue with the passing cloud cover, generally mostly cloudy, but that means temperatures mainly mid to upper 40s to about 50 degrees. Then as we head toward your Sunday afternoon, we'll stick with mostly cloudy skies in general, but with that passing front, can't rule out a few showers across parts of the region, especially in our northern counties. I think that's the best bet for any showers to pop up. 44 in the morning, 67 by noon, highs around 72 degrees. The record high tomorrow is 71. I think we got a shot of breaking that one too, so why not? as we wrap up the Christmas weekend tomorrow. We look quiet as we head into Monday, but even with returning cloudy skies, we're going to trend a little bit cooler with highs around 60. I want to quickly show you the other systems for the week ahead. Here's Tuesday's system with rain and thunderstorms, likely during Tuesday morning and into the early part of the afternoon. Then we're looking quiet Wednesday and Thursday, but then as we head toward the New Year's weekend, it starts quiet with New Year's Eve temperatures around 58, and then thunderstorms and 63 on New Year's Day. And again, that system could end as some snow as we head toward that Saturday night and Sunday, but 72 for a mild end to the holiday weekend tomorrow, 60 on Monday, 67 on Tuesday, and finally mid-40s, normal temperatures by the middle of the week, Chris.
Nick, thank you. Coming up next, sports director Jacob Leonard's going to join us, and we're taking a look back at our Pigskin preview predictions and finding out where we were right and where we were wrong after the break.
We put out our annual Pigskin preview every August, and in that, we have our predictions for the season. Now, this year was a tough year for predictions with COVID, schedule changes, new coaches, and just good teams all over the place. Like every year, we got some right and we got some wrong, and I have no problem admitting we whiffed hard on a few. We are about accountability here in the KOAM Sports Department, so here we go.
Where we were wrong.
We got the top 4 teams in the COC right, but we messed up the order bad. I thought Nixa would win it. They finished 3rd. I thought Carthage would finish 3rd, and they won it, going 9-0 in the regular season. We had Joplin 4th, and they finished 2nd behind the Tigers. We had Webb City 2nd, and they finished 4th. I don't really feel bad about that because they went on to win it all. It is what it is.
Where we were right.
I almost feel bad for taking credit for this because it was a no-brainer, but we had the Lamar Tigers going 9-0, and that's what they did. And not only that, it wasn't really close. Lamar won their regular season games by an average of 38 points per game. Tigers finished as the Class 2 state runner-up. They're 25-2 with a state title in their first 2 years under head coach Jared Beshore.
Where we were wrong.
The Girard Trojans. This team has been bouncing around 500 for years. Above 500, below 500, back above 500 again. We had them picked to go 5-3. They blew that out of the water. Girard finished the regular season with a perfect 8-0 record, their first undefeated season since 1999. The Trojans won a district title and a regional title, finishing the year with a 10-1 overall record.
Where we were right.
I thought the Aurora Hound Dogs would take another step forward, and that's what they did this season. We had them at 7-2, and they finished 7-2. After losing their season opener, the Hound Dogs ripped off 7 straight wins before falling to Nevada in the regular season finale. Now, after that great regular season, their playoff run didn't last long because
where we were wrong.
The Seneca Indians beat them in the first round. Seneca is one of our biggest whiffs of the fall. We had them in our magazine at 2-7. They dunked on us and went 5-4 in their first season under head coach Cody Hilburn. And not only that, these guys turned it on in the playoffs, going on to win a district title and finish with an 8-5 overall record. Seneca, guys, we blew it, sorry.
Where we were right.
Galena finished 7-1 this year. That's right where we had them. They lost their season opener at Commerce, then went on a 7-game winning streak to end the regular season. Now, the Bulldogs did fall in the first round of the playoffs, but they're one of the most consistent programs in the area, going 41-10 the last 5 seasons.
Where we were wrong.
I knew the Parsons Vikings were going to be better in year 2 under Jeff Scheibe. Just didn't know they would be that much better. They were 3-6 last season. We picked them to go 4-4. They ended with a 6-2 record in the regular season. Now, Parsons went on to win a playoff game and finished 7-3 overall.
Where we were right.
Missouri Southern. I know you're thinking, you're going to take credit for picking them to go 3-8? A short answer, yeah. In their first season under head coach Atiba Bradley, the Lions went 3-8 as we predicted. Now that is significant because the last time they won 3 games was all the way back in 2014 when I couldn't even rent a car. Southern is headed in the right direction. They're fun to watch again, and they're going to continue to get better.
Where we were wrong.
We had the McDonald County Mustangs in our magazine at 6-3. They ended up going 8-1 in the regular season, their best finish since the 60s. Now, this team was fun to watch. Their only loss in the regular season was to Lamar, and they finished the regular season on a 6-game winning streak. The Mustangs ended up playing for a district title and finished 10-2 overall. So we were wrong. And now, of course, there are plenty more. We're a little right or a little wrong. Those are the ones I felt stood out. Plus, can't stand here and talk all night, all right? What else do you want from me? We'll try again next year. We're back with more news after this.
Welcome back. Recent studies found many caregivers who care for aging or sick family members had less support and more stress during the pandemic. That's compounded at the holidays as COVID cases are rising. Consumer reporter Heather Sullivan has smart sense on how to help caregivers through the holidays.
A University of Chicago study reports that 1/5 of U.S. adults were caregivers to an older family member or friend during the pandemic. And any caregiver can tell you it is a very stressful responsibility.
When I became a caregiver along with my mom caring for my grandmother, it was just the number one thing we needed. We just wanted a human to speak to get that advice.
The surge in COVID cases at the holidays are sandwiching caregivers between caring for children and aging or ill loved ones.
What's extra stressful for them is the fact that they are looking out not only for themselves, but for this older adult or someone with dementia that is at the highest risk.
And caregivers rarely ask for help.
They don't, in fact, ask for help. And this is always my number one piece of advice. Most people don't know what you're going through.
There are easy ways to help a caregiver.
Say, what can I give? Can I give time? Can I give money? Can I give food?
You can provide a break.
This could be a 10-minute phone call. It could be a trip to a spa or to the golf course while you arrange for someone to be with that person, either yourself or someone else to come in.
Or just lend an ear.
Also, just providing a listening ear. Don't problem solve, just be there to say, I want to hear you.
And tips for caregivers. Have medications and supplies to last through January 2nd. Remember, you can use funds in an FSA before year's end. Have medical contact information if the doctor is away. And if you're going away,
set up a check-in schedule with other family members and friends so that the loved one that you're caring for can rely on somebody checking in on them throughout the holidays.
Up next, we may have received some unique and amazing gifts for Christmas, but did any of you get a space telescope? Well, that's what the science world got. Details after this. The best Christmas present a space enthusiast could ever ask for, NASA's James Webb Telescope. Blasted off into space today, early this morning from the launch site in South America. The telescope, which has gone through more than 3 decades of development, is the biggest and most powerful tool for exploring space that's ever been built. The James Webb Telescope is seen as the successor to the Hubble Space Telescope, which has been in service since April of 1990. Today's launch has been a long time coming since the telescope's initial launch date was set, get this, 2007. Experts say it'll take about 6 months for the telescope to become fully operational. Sean, I was just asking you, did you get a space telescope for Christmas?
I did not.
I didn't either, and I'm honestly a little disappointed. Next year, we want to make sure we put that on our list. Make sure you put it on your list, too, at home for a good-sized space telescope. I mean, you can build a launching facility in the backyard. What, you just need some gasoline and some matches and a space telescope. How hard could that be, right? Right? Yeah, he says it's probably not that hard. That's our time for now, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to do this again tomorrow night, same time. And thanks for making us part of your night.